great.
Your phone, have you taken with it?
Hello, everybody. This is such an exciting occasion. So, firstly, hello to everybody in the room, but also hello to everybody on Instagram and YouTube. The gang's all here, literally. This is global. This is so exciting. I'm Sarah Jossel, and I am thrilled to be here for such an exciting event. I'm going to stand out with this light because it is so bright I can't see anything. Nope, I still can't see anything. I'm going to go here so we can't see it. There you go. My eyes have gone funny. Can't see anything here either. Sorry, guys, it's so bright. Okay. We are here to celebrate something incredibly special. It is the launch of Morphe's brand new reformulated eyeshadows, Eyeshadow Remastered, powered by Chroma Plus technology. So, the woman of the moment. Tonight we are joined by a true icon in the beauty world. She is a makeup artist whose work you've seen on red carpets, on the runway, and on some of the most photographed faces in the world. With over 1.2 million followers and known globally for her artistry on the Kardashians, Lindsay Lohan, J-Lo, you might have heard of her, Ariana Grande, Camila Cabello, she is an artist who truly knows eyeshadow inside and out. This is a rare chance to learn directly from the master of her craft. Please give a huge welcome to the one, the only celebrity makeup artist, Ash K Holm. Come on in, Ash.
Guys, hi guys, hi everyone. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I'm so excited. You have no idea. This is truly an honor to be here at Selfridges. I can't believe it. I'm in the UK and I get to connect with all of you. This is such a gift. And I just wanted to say thank you to Selfridges and Morphe for putting this together for me. It has just been a dream to be in this new role. It has been a dream to be in this new role with Morphe as their Chief Artistry Officer. And we're so excited to bring you so much new elevation with formulations, products, just all of it from top to bottom. And I know that you guys have already started experiencing it, right? With the brushes, the eyeshadows, and cheek thrills. So it's been really exciting just being a part of this new era. And I have a really exciting masterclass that I get to share with you today. And I just want to get into my craft. And while I'm teaching, I love this to be conversational. So if you guys have any questions for me, career-wise, makeup-wise, anything, nothing's off the table. So please feel free to ask, and we'll make sure we can answer as many questions as possible. And today's look is really going to be an eye-focused makeup tutorial, okay? We are bringing eyes back. All right, I feel like eyes had a back seat for a while, and that made me really sad because I've just always loved the eyes. I think it's the first thing you look at when you look at someone. And I'm so excited that Morphe launched the new eyeshadow collection. These are the eyeshadow palettes remastered. Have you guys seen these yet? They're incredible. So what's so exciting for me is that there's just so many palettes to choose from. And it's the formulation that makes it so special. And I felt like I could literally look at a palette like this. And it has been a while that I've looked at a palette and actually gotten inspired off of the eyeshadows. Usually I'm trying to get inspiration from what my client's wearing. That's where I get my inspiration from first because I'm trying to make it a moment. But now I'm like, wait, we can actually go back to doing makeup, you know, and like finding our creativity again. And I think that sometimes that gets a little lost. So it's nice to have these incredible, you know, the shade range and everything. So I'm really excited about that. And we can't wait to hear what you guys think of the eyeshadows as well. And I feel like, working with Morphe has been such an exciting journey so far, because I feel like when I look back at my career and, some of the products that were initially in my kit when I was building my kit and things like that and moving to LA, I remember we were like raised on the 35 pan eyeshadow palettes, right? How exciting is that? And now we finally have these. So it's really cool because I feel like Morphe is a brand that has always given back to the artists and has created products with artists in mind and for the customer as well. And I feel like, just from like the formulations to the packaging to the price point, it's something that it's exciting because it's like, it's affordable for everyone, and I just love that so much. So I'm excited to be in this new role and I can't wait to walk you through this makeup demo. So we'll get into it. Yes. And we're going to be doing very silky skin as well. And also thanks for coming to my movie premiere. I love this. Like, this is the coolest setup that I could ask for. So I'm very excited.
As Ash said, as we go, any questions, just put your hands up. We won't wait till the end, so just ask as we go.
Yes. Okay. So my model skin is already prepped. It's always like my client this, my client that. So I'm always in that mode. But since her skin's already prepped, I want to just go straight into eyes because that's the focus, right? I feel like, you can do your base first or you can do your eyes. There's no rules with makeup. It really doesn't matter. Some of my clients prefer, the eyes or the skin first. You just have to do like what's best in that moment. But I feel like the eyes really should be a moment and we don't want to worry about any fallout. So we'll just get into it. And another product that I'm very excited about is the Solo Artist. These are the eye priming bases. So if you guys aren't familiar with these, it's basically like a base that dries down matte and it's an eyeshadow. So you can wear it as is or you can put the shadow on top. But these are also very pigmented, right? And a little goes such a long way. I'm sure you guys have like tested and tried these already. If you haven't, please do because it's packed with pigment. So it is a new Chroma Plus blend formula. So it's very unique to Morphe. And what that means is that it's going to give you like that one swipe blendability. You can use your fingers to apply the shimmers or we also have the molten metals that are in the center. That's the ones that have these really beautiful designs that you can find in the 6-pan palettes. So it's just a lot to work with, which is exciting. So I have 2 paint pots in front of me, Debut and Melody. So I'm going to mix these and we'll do like a little bit of both. So I'll put these on the back of my hand. I do. I actually found this photo that I was obsessed with. And it's very sultry on the eyes. It's like we're going to give you I want to mix some of these molten metals, like a very pinky golden kind of glaze on the eyes. I want it to look almost wet, but with a smoky wing liner kind of wrapped around the rim. So it just looks super sultry. And then tying in that pink hue that you see on the lid into the cheeks and the lips, but like chiseled, contoured, but in a soft way. I feel like very me, a look that you would see me post on social media. So yes, so we'll get into it. Okay, so for brushes, all right, so we have the new Morphe brushes, of course, and I'm using the 303 brush just to kind of like base the eye. And I'm just gonna mix these two together. So I picked these because it has more of like a warm undertone to it. So I'll have you close for me, perfect. And she's got an amazing eyeshadow shape too for this look. But keep in mind that a little goes such a long way. And I say that with like every product that Morphe has. And I like that because you really don't need a lot of product. So we'll base this with a very dense brush. This is more of a shader brush. I like to start on the lid and kind of work my way up. That way the brow doesn't look too pronounced. And you don't have too much product right underneath the brow. This is just going to be more elevated. Very smooth. It just blends out like a dream. And this will also get the eyeshadows to just stick and lay down. Amazing. If you ever bring too much on the outside, right here, you can take one of these very cute sponges from Morphe. I love having like at least two of these out because I use them for so many things. And just kind of blend it into the inner corner and outer corner like that. And I'll turn you a little bit. And then same thing on this side. Just basing, doing large circular motions. And these dropped right around the same time, I want to say, as the palettes did. So they really go cohesive together. But before this came out, I had a lot of time to experiment with these palettes, and I was just kind of putting like foundation, like whatever I had left over on my brush while I was doing my base. And it lasted. So even if like you don't use the priming base, you're still fine because the formula is that good.
I was
But
going to say, how is this formula different than new formulas?
I mean, it's interesting because like the Chroma Plus blend is so unique because it's really just going to give you like that all day wear, and like you're going to lock it in even more with the Solo Artist priming base right here. So that is definitely very helpful because I feel like when I'm working with my clients, they have their makeup on for 8 hours. I know you guys know what it's like. So if you have your makeup on for 8 hours, you want to make sure it's not moving anywhere, it's staying in place. So I'm always thinking of like, how can I make something, and increase the longevity of it, basically. So I'm going to go in first with more of like a pinky mauve tone. So going in with this gorgeous palette here. So this is Rose Frequency. And I am going to just do that. Like we're going to go into like a very rosy shade, starting with the lighter one first. And then just bringing this into the crease. So this should be like a wash of color. I'm also going to mix this deeper one as well. So these two matte shades is what I'm focusing on. And I'm going to bring it down to the lash line a little bit because I like to mattify and kind of warm up this area as well. And this is kind of how I start off a lot of my eyeshadow applications. I start to create this framework for the eye shape. And even if you don't have an eye shape like this, you can still elongate your eyes and kind of create an optical illusion. And by doing that, you'll start lightly in the crease. And then when you soften up your hand and your pressure, you really start to allow yourself to blend in a more gradient way. And as you work your way up the brow bone, switch over to the lightest shade. So you're going to go back to this one, and it's just going to soften everything up. I'm going to turn you a little bit more. So everything I do is very pulled out, pulled up. And when I'm deeper in the crease like this, I will grab the deeper tone just for a little bit more depth. And it's okay if this gets on the lid, it's totally fine because I'm going to add that molten metal right after this. I also think it's like quite sultry and it makes the eyes a little bit more sexy when you open them. When you go into the inner corner, close to the inner part of the brow, and you kind of start to take whatever's left over on the brush and just like buff this into this area. And it's fine if it gets into the brow hair. Open for me. And you can see how it kind of smokes out the inner. So it's like we're smoky here, we're smoky and lifted here, but it creates like a gorgeous shape. And I just feel like there's so much you can do with eyeshadow. Like I'll do this shape with a very light tone and it just feels like I have something on my eyes. I feel like we are going to start to see more eyeshadow looks. Like we're going to ease our way back into that trend. And it doesn't have to be a look that I'm doing today. Like expect to see a version of this and way softer. Like maybe it's just like one tone here and one of the shimmers on the lid or molten metals for a nice glaze, something that looks almost wet going into summer. Like think bronzy tones, neutrals.
Ash, how do you choose the right eyeshadow tones for different skin types and tones?
That's a great question. So I always feel like when I'm working with someone that has like a deeper complexion, I tend to pull more warmer tones because I feel like it just makes the pigment in their skin look more rich. It enhances the melanin. So that's usually my go-to, but that doesn't mean that darker skin can't wear like cooler tones. You just have to pick the right ones. Like Morphe has some great new eyeshadow palettes that are really rich when it comes to cool tones. So it's like you can wear a gray, you don't want it to be ashy. It needs to be the right pigmentation. And then if you have lighter skin, I feel like you need to experiment, like light to medium dark. It's like, why not experiment? I feel like I always say there's no rules when it comes to makeup. Like I'm not really a person that follows trends. Like we like to set them. I feel like, that's how a lot of celebrity makeup artists like mindsets are. It's like trends are fun, but you should experiment and play and, set your own and do things that you feel comfortable in. So when I'm working with, someone that I've never worked with before, I may ask like the questions that we all do. Like what tones do you feel comfortable with? Is it okay if I try something new on you? Because it's like maybe you just haven't tried it yet. And like a warm tone would be really nice versus a cool tone. So a lot of the times it's like, it's just preference.
So for people who don't know what a warm tone is versus a cool tone, how do you sort of discover that?
Honestly, just trial and error, like just watching them, like, because you can kind of tell right away. I feel like when you put something warm on your eyelid, like if you put like a warm bronzy tone on your eyelids, sometimes it's too warm. It goes a little orange. Maybe you don't like that. And you want to tone it down a little bit. So in that case, you would I like to mix like cool tones with warm tones. I think a lot of the times people are like, wait, I never thought to do that. But it actually looks really beautiful when you mix them together. Another thing I'm doing, I'm just grabbing a clean brush. I like to grab this one a lot. It's the 333 brush. And this has nothing on it. And it just kind of helps me just like continue to blend without anything on it. And then same thing over here. I'm just kind of creating the shape again. So dragging out the eyeshadow, using the brow kind of as a guide. And again, like even if I was working with someone that had a different eye shape, you can still kind of blow things out and create that imaginary space. It's just all about making like an optical illusion work for you and your eyes.
Let's talk about brushes, because I know so
Yes.
many people will just grab a quick, whatever brush they can find when it comes to doing their makeup.
Right.
How important is it when it comes to choosing makeup to do eyeshadow like this?
It is so important to me. I feel like if you were to look at my kit, if you like came to take a closer look, I always have like about this many brushes out, or maybe one more canister of like detail brushes. So I love getting multiples of blending brushes, multiples of like shader brushes that are like really micro that I can use on the lash line. I just think your tools are so important. Like I don't know where I would be without my tools. As much as like I love to use my fingertips to blend certain things, like you need your tools as an artist. It's like, what is a painter without their brushes, right? So investing in in quality brushes is what I always tell people. It's like one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. But I think just starting out, it's good to have the basics. And then from there, like find what you really like and get doubles of them. Why not? Definitely. With brushes, like when you're asking an artist, more is more for us. More is more. I love this screen right here. I can really see what I need to do. So I'm just going to build it up a little bit more because I feel like when I look at it on the screen, it's almost like a little blown out from the lighting. And that happens. I think that on photo shoots and, when I'm working with my clients, I'll do something and I'll have the lighting in mind, like the way that I'm creating the look. Because sometimes when we go into the lighting, it kind of changes everything. And then I need to step in on set and then tweak it, pick it up a notch. And I also want this look to be all about the liner as well. I think that's just as important as the eyeshadow right now, because that's really going to shape the eyes even more. Who here is like an eyeshadow person, like that likes to wear eyeshadow? Yeah?
We've got hands.
Okay.
We've got good hands.
Okay,
going up.
okay, good. And so for everyone else, do you guys feel like it's something that, do you kind of think of it for like a special occasion? Like how do we feel? I'm curious.
Tell us.
Kind of both? Yeah, tell me. We're just hanging out.
I've got very small eyes
Okay.
and I'm very old compared to most of the people in this room. And when I do, my friend and I, when we do our eyeshadow, the brush doesn't quite go as smoothly and nicely as you're doing now because our skin is
The eyelids.
So in that case, what I would do, I would only base, if I was doing your makeup, I would only base your eyes with your foundation. No concealer, no nothing, little bit of product on the eye. I have some clients that have more mature skin on the eyelids, and that's exactly what I do. I will literally, I just go in with like a little bit of foundation. And the brushes that you use matter. Like you want to invest in make sure you have a couple great Morphe brushes because this isn't going to tug the skin and drag, right? and then using eyeshadows that are like creamier. So Morphe's new remastered eyeshadows have like a creamier feel to them without it being a cream. So you've got to try it one day, and then we want the feedback. We want to know, because I feel like it's all about like just kind of testing out new products and like switching up your tools sometimes.
So can I just ask, are you saying, oh, sorry. Hi. So are you saying no base, just foundation?
Yes, just foundation.
Okay.
And yes, I do this on a lot of my clients. Honestly, sometimes like I started change because like, you know, when you work with someone for so many years, you got to change up your technique, right? And like the products, because things just don't work the same sometimes. So I have to troubleshoot a lot, and that's what's kind of like separated me from, you know, other artists, or just how I've kind of like grown more and matured in like my craft is switching it up. So definitely try to put just your foundation down with like a sponge or a brush, just blot it down, and then put your eyeshadow immediately on top. Like you don't even really have to set it with a loose powder because the eyeshadow is already powdered. So I find sometimes that it looks creamier and blends easier on skin like that.
And what if you don't wear foundation?
If you don't, maybe do you have a skin tint? Like if you wear a skin tint or anything like that, like see what you have that works for you. I just feel like concealer might be too thick, personally.
Okay.
If like that's the challenge.
Well, the challenge is that obviously you're using a beautiful model that doesn't have one crease on her eyelids.
Oh
So
my God,
what
I
happens
totally
when you're
understand.
like in your 50s and 60s and you have a heavier or more creases on your eyelids? It's
I love it.
a
I have-
challenge. And you know, whenever
It
I
is.
have my makeup done, I always say, look, it's very easy when you're doing beautiful models, but when you're of an age and you still love makeup and you still want to create something that looks, you know, beautiful and natural, how do you create that?
I think that's a great question, because it kind of just like adds to how I feel. It's like you've got to test out. I promise you, got to test out going in with like just your foundation first. Like whether it's a skin tint, it's something. The point is to get that moisture on your eye. You know, like when I work with Salma Hayek, sometimes we take. She'll be like, "Can I see your face oil?" Okay, let's get the face oil, and like I want you to blot right here. You know, like blot. She'll take the moisturizer sometimes, and like we'll literally blot it over the eyeshadow. And yes, that changes the way the eyeshadow looks. It gives it a more lived-in look. You got to just like tone down what you're using. Like maybe not a ton of oil at first. Like maybe start with like your moisturizer or something like that. And you can blot it over, because I imagine you're going to go in with eyeshadows that aren't super dark, something a little more forgiving to start with. And that would be a great way to kind of introduce yourself into maybe like a more moisturized eye look. Another thing I like to do is I will sometimes, like say there's nothing on their eyes, I'll take like a cream contour product. Like I'll grab this guy right here. So this stick right here, okay? You can put it on the back of your hand and then take your blending brush and do exactly what I just did in the crease and in the outer corner. And this is also going to kind of do that same exact thing, but keep in mind it's like more of a cool, warmish tone. So if you're okay with going for that first, that could be a nice base as well, because it's not going to dry down on you like a priming base would, like the product that I put down. Like I wouldn't recommend that for someone with more mature skin right there. Yeah, so think of those emollient shades. So your contour, your foundation, adding your moisturizer, like those are great little tips that I've found like throughout my journey that have like really helped my clients, you know, as like they've gone through changes and things like that.
Also, Ash, just one thing I'm noticing as you do this, being heavy-handed. I think when you're doing your own makeup, you tend to either pack a lot on very quickly,
Right.
or you just apply too much,
Yeah.
whether you're in a rush. I mean,
We've all
you've
been
done
there.
more blending today than I've probably ever done in my life.
Oh my
It's
God.
so
I know. You
impressive.
guys just know you signed up for the Artistry, sis. Okay. Yeah.
But no, it's such a good.
Yes.
It's like to learn from that, and I don't think.
Yes.
I think when sometimes you look at your eyes you think you haven't blended. That's what it
Yeah.
often is. You just haven't blended enough and it will look
Totally.
amazing. You just need to blend a bit more.
You just need to blend a bit more.
Yeah.
So the great thing about these is like they're just so pigmented and creamy for a powder. So I encourage you to go in with one of the lighter shades first, okay? Something like this. Sometimes this is all you need. Put this in your crease and pop one of like the shimmers or molten metals that I'm going to use, and like that's it. That's what I would do for like summer eyeshadow looks, you know? Like a little bronze, a little beige in the center, a peekaboo look, pop it in the center and do the inner and outer corner like a matte. I think that would be so pretty for like if you just want to feel like that girl,
Yeah.
you know, like a little more elevated. But I like the direction that this is going. One thing that I did, I went in with this light pale pinky kind of lilac shade almost, and I went under the brow. And I went back in with the 303 brush, and this kind of took down some of that blending that I did. Like if you ever look at your work and think I took it up too high, take a matte shade that's light and put it on the brow bone. Another thing I want to do is kind of put it in the inner corner right here. You can kind of like pack it on a little bit first. Sometimes I like to do that so it's really pigmented, and then I'll just take a blending brush and go into the inner corner just to add some warmth right here. And now I'm going to take a matte shade and put that down last. So I'm going to mix these two together for the lid. So just pressing close to me. Perfect. So I'm going to press this in up into where her eye folds, like getting it right into the socket. Just like that. Mixing these two together again. And it also contains mango butter is in the formula. So that makes it more nourishing and hydrating on the eyes. And that glide and just the smoothness that you feel when you apply these eyeshadows. Because sometimes eyeshadows aren't that smooth, you know? And it like discourages you to blend because it may be a little bit like tugging with the brush.
Just a quick show of hands. Who has tried the Morphe eyeshadows before? Does anyone have a favorite shade or a favorite
Yes.
color? Come on, everyone, just say it at once.
Yes. Is it this one? This one, I'm obsessed with this. You're so right. Like this is like your go-to. This one is your go-to. This is like your everyday, works on all skin tones. If I had to tell you which one that I would, want to buy myself, that I think you should too, that it would have to be Flickering Sands. It's great to have.
Amazing. Any others?
Open for me? Beautiful. So now I feel like we're in a pretty good place. I'm going to go back. I'm just going to kind of blend right here a little bit. We're going to do more of an eyeliner in this area, but I'm okay with adding some warmth. Yes, please. Open for me.
Thank you. My name's Sarah Ash, and I've been following
Hi.
you for like 10 years. So
Thank
I absolutely
you.
love your work. And I'm an artist myself, so I love watching the glams that you create.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited to be here, first of all.
We need a
and-
photo
Oh, yeah, definitely.
immediately. As soon as I'm done. We
For
have
sure.
to. Don't leave me.
I was going to ask, how did your journey from being like a general makeup artist, maybe doing brides and people in your area, from them becoming a celebrity makeup artist, what was your journey like? How did you break through?
I really love this question because it kind of it brings me back, And I would have to say, when I was starting out, back in the day, there wasn't really open for me. There wasn't really that many places to turn to when it came to how do I get into makeup? There's so many ways you can get into it. And I think everyone's journey is so unique to them. So that's why it's fun to kind of ask different people too. But I would have to say, working at MAC back in the day was the only, I feel like that was the cool place to work. And I realized that I could kind of get my reps in there, I would help 50 people a day. I worked at one of the busiest stores. So that will always be a part of my journey. And I'll never forget that. And helping 50 people a day of all walks of life, all different ethnicities, skin tones, skin textures, skin conditions. I had to troubleshoot and think on my feet a lot. And I think those moments really prepped me for the clientele that I have now. I mean, it's a whole different ball game, but that was very helpful. And then I really wanted this position working there, and it was a trainer position because I loved education and I practiced so hard to get this position. And I taught myself how to public speak, all of it. And I ended up not getting the position. Really quick, I'm going in with the molten metals. That's these guys right here. So these two. And I'm just wetting it with the continuous setting mist to lock it in. And I remember I didn't get the job and I was so devastated. Like, I studied for this for 2 years. Like, this was a position people would travel all over the country for. So I knew the stakes were high, and I was probably 23 years old at the time, and I didn't get it, and I felt so crushed. And then I was, dating someone. We're married now, and he was like, I think you should just quit. Like, you've kind of, built up yourself. I felt like a big fish in a small pond. And I ended up putting my 2 weeks notice in. And sometimes, like, you just need someone to tell you no in order for you to grow. And it was like the best thing, because I felt like, why would I stay here? That was like, I didn't have a backup plan. I was like, that's the job that I want. So when I didn't get it, I was like, okay, I think I need to, this was maybe exactly what was supposed to happen, and it's hard to see it in the moment, and it's so frightening and scary, but sometimes you just got to take the leap, and you just need one person that believes in you, whether it's like a close friend, someone that it could literally doesn't even have to be family. Like, just one person that believes in you sometimes is all it takes. And ever since then, I really worked on my freelance career, because before this, I was building myself. Like, people would come in and use me for, I was hustling around working there. And so I was really building up my name. And I think I ended up working with one of my first celebrity clients right when I was about to quit. And her name's Lily Galici, and she's like a businesswoman, entrepreneur, owns Lily Lashes. And she was one of my first clients. And I worked with her. And then after I worked with her, somehow it got back to Carmen Electra. And so I ended up getting to work with this bombshell of the 90s, Carmen Electra. And so it just brings me to say that your reputation is so important. In whatever you do in life, your reputation will carry you all the way to the top. And I stayed in Houston for 6 months building myself. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? I want more. I got to do Carmen. I got to do Lily. What a powerful feeling it was to work with these empowering, inspiring women. I just wanted more of that. So this was a time where social media was booming with Instagram, and opened for me. And I stayed really consistent and disciplined with my posting. And it was the beginning of it. So I had no idea what I was doing on that app, but I knew that if I continue to post, it kind of rewarded you, right? And that's with anything in life. It's you need to have resilience, be disciplined, be consistent with whatever career you have, and you'll get rewarded for it. The universe is watching, right? So that's kind of always been my mindset, and how I've, gotten to grow in my career. And I just took that jump and was like, I'm going to move to LA. And when I moved to LA, I felt like the stars were aligning, because after 2 months of living there, I did get an email from the Kardashians to work with Khloe, and she was going to be in Houston for New Year's. And so she thought that I lived in Houston, because no one knew me in LA at all. I had to start over. But I was like, okay, we're on the right track. She's thinking of me for Houston, at least I'm being thought of in the city that I grew up in, And so I flew myself back to do her, and I'm so glad I did. And I ended up telling her at the end of Glam, I don't actually live here, because I was trying to make it about her and didn't want to make it about me and be weird about it. And she was so touched by that. And it takes a while for someone to think of you first, you've really got to earn it. You have to build trust with someone. So I think after that, it was she would think of me, close for me. She would think of me as a backup, and that's sometimes how you have to start. So it's you really got to just put the work in and the time. And then before you know it, after a lot of hard work and discipline and consistency, you're where you want to be career-wise. And I think that's truly helped me get to where I am. So I'm always really grateful of the journey. Even when I worked at the mall, I was so proud of working at the mall. I didn't care. I just loved my job. I think I just love the artistry, the places that makeup has taken me. So it's always hard to answer that question because it's so it's loaded, but I love it because it's you can't answer it in just one way. So I try to give the bullet points as best that I can.
No, that was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Such an inspiring story of yours.
Thank you
that's
so much. And you know
crazy.
what's like cool about it is what I realized is that like quitting that job was the best thing ever, because I realized I don't have to educate, you know, just for that position and like that role at that time. Like I can do it for myself, and you can truly like, you know, control your destiny. Because I am literally someone that just grew up in Houston, Texas, on the outskirts. So why not anyone here? Like that's how I've always looked at it. I'm like, that does like as long as you work hard, anyone can do it.
That's so cool. I used to work at Mac as well, actually, and I feel like working on a makeup counter is like the best thing you can do as an artist that's growing, because you help so many different people every single day, and it just makes you so confident.
You do. So I'll always give them props for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we put that work in, right? Like we did that work and we earned it. But it was a great place at the time to just like get your reps in. Why not? And right now I'm going in with one of my favorite liners. So this really feels like a gel formula. This is another incredible Morphe product. It's dual-ended, and I'm going in with the shade Dare. On the other side is Truth. It's like more of an espresso shade. And if you guys haven't tried these, please do. These are the Bi-Liners dual-ended gel pencils. And I basically just started from the outer corner. And I usually hold my client's eyes so they don't blink. And that way I can just have a little bit more of a steady hand. And the brush that you have to use for this is 382. I have a couple of these in my kit because you can kind of get a softer wing with this. Like, look how I can just flick this out. So starting from the outer corner and then open. Really beautiful. And then I'm going to have you look down in this way, the other way. Perfect. And then I'm going to go into the inner corner of the eye.
Ash, your story
Open
is
for me.
so inspirational for people who want to be the next Ash. What is your advice? I know you mentioned discipline and loving your job, but
Yes.
when people ask you, what do you say?
I always tell them, like, you just got to go for it. I think a lot of the times, like, everything is based around fear. Like, it's someone maybe told you, like, it's not a good idea to do that. Like, I had so many people telling me how terrible it was to move to LA. like I can't, you guys have no idea. And I still left. I still went. So sometimes it's like you just have to follow your gut, even when you're terrified. And just like take the leap, because like, what do you have to lose? Seriously. And but how bad do you want it? If you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out and find your way. But you just got to put your head down and work. Like, I feel like that's another thing too. Like, I don't let the noise around me like bother me. Like, I follow people on social media. I love their work and I'm inspired by it, but I don't like sit there and compare myself. Look down this way. And if you're comparing yourself too much to other people and thinking, why not me? Like, I can't, like, why is it not happening for me right now? Scroll less. Look at that less. Open for me.
Such good advice.
Like, I honestly think it's helped me. Sometimes I have to like put the phone down because I'm like, oh, I don't want to have feelings towards anything, you know, and just focus on yourself. I think the more you focus on yourself, your work, your craft, what you're doing, your artistry, like that's when like the stars align. And everything just comes together. Close for me. So I'm starting at the outer corner and I'm just really pushing this into the lash line. So that way there's no gaps in between the lashes. That's one thing that I always try to be aware of, is like not having like any like little holes in between the lashes and the eyeliner. And I don't pull the wing out first. I kind of like to just inch my way along the lash line and smudge it out a little bit. And then I'll pull the wing out, because I can kind of just softly drag it.
in terms of finding your perfect flick, I mean, I'm sure it's just intuitive for you now, but this is something I would love to be able to do. How do you find exactly where your flick goes?
I always say start off like with a real cute flick. Like it's, you got to have like a very cute chic flick at first. And it's hard to achieve that sometimes, because I think when we do eyeliner, we'll do one side and then the other one doesn't look the same. And then before you know it, you have way too much product on your eye. So it's really all about like knowing how to fix it, I think. Because when I do makeup, like hair is happening at the same time. And you know, when I work with Ariana Grande, like she's getting a ponytail at the same time sometimes. So you have to be able to, I have to be able to like do both. And sometimes I need to fix it a little bit because it's just like inevitable. So I would get another brush, like probably one of the synthetic, open for me. Probably just show you right here. I'm going to show you right now. I'll show you actually. Yeah, I'm going to do it with foundation. Look down in this way. So I'll get this on and then I'll show you guys exactly how to do it. Another thing I like to do is like just take a makeup wipe with a clean brush, something angular, and I'll start cleaning it up sometimes like that. And then I'll go back in with like a little concealer if I need to. Look down in this way. So there's a couple ways you can do it, but you got to know how to fix it. That's going to save your life and make you feel empowered to do your eyeliner more. Close for me. Because I feel like eyeliner is a game changer too with your eyeshadow. Like they really go hand in hand. I would be lost without my eyeliner. Open for me. And then close. And I always feel like when you have hooded eyes, you should keep your eyes open when you're doing your eyeliner because you want to go kind of bring the brush over the fold. You see open? Perfect. So look straight. So I see what I need to do here. So I'm going to bring this one up a little bit more. And just kind of drag that out a little bit as well. And it's a labor of love, makeup. Okay, so I like to make sure that I really bring this eyeliner from the last eyelash. So you don't have this weird gap right here. But I want to also make sure it's super clean. So I'll show you. Let me see. And these also dry down too. So like they're creamy, but like once they're on, they're kind of on. Let me see. Perfect. I kind of want to clean it up from the top a little bit as well, so I'll show you. Okay, open your eyes for me. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a little bit of remover. So we'll use a wipe, just whatever you have at home. You can do micellar water on a Q-tip as well. So many things will work for this. Pinch it inside the brush. And then I usually stand on this side when I do it, but I'm a little limited, so I'm going to do this. I know the makeup artists in here, like we have our sides, you know, like places that we stand where we feel comfortable. Okay. This is going to remove some of the eyeshadow. Don't worry about it. Sometimes you need to clean up the top too, you know, like it just depends. Open for me. So just keep dragging it. And what's great about the Morphe brush sets, I like the brush roll that they carry because it just has everything in it. And there's these amazing detailed brushes because you're going to need something detailed to patch that with.
Any eyeliner questions?
And then from the bottom too. And each time I clean it up, I do this again. Of course.
Of course.
Hello. I'd like to ask, as a celebrity makeup artist now, what would you say are your biggest struggles compared to when you were first starting out, if that makes sense?
Well, I would say some of that has to do, that looks pretty good. I always kind of think about how much I've given up, you know, to like be where I am. And that's kind of tough sometimes because when you're first starting out and then even when I'm where I'm at in my career, like you still give up a lot. And that's been a really tough part because I think I've missed out, and this is everyone, okay? Even this is like makeup artists starting out. This is like all of us. We will give up birthdays, engagements, weddings, like everything, like for the career. Because the problem is if like I'm not doing it, someone else is. And if I don't have this relationship established really well with this person, or maybe they don't glam a lot and book a lot, but you really want to work with them again for like, think of me for a big campaign or something, you're going to show up on the day that's like uncomfortable for you and put that all beside you. And you're going to do that because it's a freelance job. It's not a 9 to 5. So you kind of have to. It's like, how bad do you want it? Like, remember how I said that? I was like, how bad do you want this? And that's what you ask yourself, because if you want it that bad, you're going to make it come true. And sometimes making your dreams come true means committing to that. I'm going to go back with a little paint pot too. And I think that it just always makes me feel like it's the same thing every time. Like I still feel it now, because even if I want to take a vacation or something like that, every time I go to take a vacation, it's like the most exciting thing happening with someone. It's like the cover of Vogue, and like, it's like, you just can't make this up, you know, but you have to realize that it's always going to be something. So you can't worry about it. Like, you have to take the trip. So now I'm like rewiring my brain, and I've like done a pretty good job. I've been doing this 15 years. So the rewiring has started, and for a while now. And I try to just follow my gut, you know, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm taking the trip to Japan. I'm going to, my family's in town. I will not be booking anyone else, you know, because at the end of the day, you have to have your life too. The career is going to be there. You know, you have to be confident in like your work. But I feel like it took me a while to get to that place, because you have to build, right? You have to grind for like so long. So in the beginning, I totally don't regret sacrificing. I don't think I do, because it helped me get here, you know? So that's really how you have to look at it.
And are there any sort of, I guess, technical issues that you face till this day that have, like, since you started, anything to do with like having bad clients, or how do you navigate those situations? Just, you know, given the context of being a beauty freelancer, I feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate, honestly. Like, I really enjoy like the energy of like all of my clients. I feel like some people I've heard, you know, have had like bad experiences. But, you know, it's your life and your choice, and you don't have to go ever again if you don't want to. There's so many amazing people to work with. So I think your energy is so important, and you should protect it. I always tell myself, I can only control me. I can't control you. So if you come in and you're stressed and you're having a day, that's okay. Because like, my job is to make you feel amazing, you know, and it's not really about me. But of course, we're all human. So it's like, how do you protect that energy and like still do your job? I meditate a lot. So like, I'll meditate before work, because that kind of just clears my mindset. And like, I try to eat healthy. I go to bed early. Like, I really like put my career first, like with whatever I'm doing, like this masterclass, like, you know, I think it's like anything that I'm doing, I'm very intentional about it. And that's how you protect yourself, you know? So sometimes it's like, it's just those little things that are really helpful, I feel like. Yes. Hi. Oh, amazing. Congrats, by the way. That's huge. Thank you. Do your skin.
Important, and really building on your craft, working by the counter, etc. But how else did you build your brand? You have to be a likable person. You need to be a person that can be malleable and like get along with different people. And like, how else did you stand out, would you say, from other people? Because I don't think people talk about the softer skills enough.
You're so
because
right.
that also matters a lot more, because you might not be the best in the game, but you might be someone who's actually really, really likable.
I love what you said, because it's really, really important. Me and my husband talk about that a lot. It's like, you have to be so talented, and you have to be the whole package, really. And it's like, he always told me, he's like, that's what will separate you from like other people, is not just your skills, but also your personality. And I think you have to work on yourself a lot and like love yourself. And you have to do a lot of self-work and just feel really like confident with who you are. Because if you love yourself, you can accept love and love everyone else and feel good. So I put an ego aside. Like, I like to think that I don't really have an ego. Like, I see everyone as like equal. Like, that's always been my vibe. And it's really helped me. And I think you can feel that, like, when you walk into a room, you can feel someone's energy like right away, right? Your clients can feel it. So it's really, really, really important. by the way, I'm using this incredible foundation, Lightform. It has such a lightweight feel to it, but it's extremely buildable. And I'm doing 2 shades, one to kind of sharpen the jawline in a moment, medium 14W and tan 16N for the all over base. But yeah, I feel like it's just so important to like kind of just like practice like being a mindful, genuine person. Like it's hard to teach that though. It's like you have to just kind of be that, you know? And I think that I owe it to my parents, you know, like just the way that I was raised. And I always just go back to like my roots and like what they taught me, you know, just be a good, I think at the end of the day, it's like, be a good person, you know, if like you're just a good person, like how can you fail, you know? And just be honest, you know, be helpful. I like to be like a great set of like eyes, ears, hands, like I'm like very close with all of my clients in a professional way. Like we don't hang out or anything like that, but it's like they can count on me, right? So I think that like you show people who you really are, right? And so like practice being like an intentional good person. You just get rewarded by the universe. And I've always believed in that. And I always told myself like when I was building myself in LA, I've been there like almost 12 years now. I told myself it's going to take time for people to see me, but we'll get there because it's not just going to be my skills. It's going to be me as a person. And I feel like I was right about that. So you just got to like trust yourself and like keep moving. Of course. Yes.
Your microphone's coming over. There you go.
Oh,
That's
mine's
better.
like off.
So yeah, so I was saying your tips so far have been great, and it's good to know that a lot of the things that you've done in terms of correcting, you know, those are things that I'm sure a lot of us do as well. Do you have any tips on the inner, like the fox eyeliner for the corner of the eye? Because
Yes.
everyone has different eye shapes, and
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one of my favorite looks to do. By the way, this is I use this brush for foundation. This is the 204 brush. It's amazing for cream blush. I use it for both, but it's incredible for foundation because it's so dense. And I like to start with that. But when I'm doing the fox eye look, I do this on my clients all the time. I do it with eyeshadow. I actually like do the whole thing with eyeshadow because I can make the black look like an eyeliner. I'll make it look so intense. I take eye patches. So just take whatever eye patches you have or tape and just like literally tape or eye patches. You know, if you're using tape, make sure it's like a scotch, like, I don't know, something that's not going to tug on your skin. And let me make sure really quick. So make sure it's something that's not going to tug, lay that down. And like, that's your guide, you know, like I would start like layering the eyeshadows like into the crease, do all that focus on the outer corner. And if you ever bring it too high, you need to take that light shade back down or use your concealer to cover it up. Like I'll use concealer to fix eyeshadow all the time. Like if I'm like, this shape isn't right, I'll literally grab a little bit of concealer on a brush and start buffing it into the eyeshadow. You can fix anything because I've had to fix so many things like on the fly with my clients. So just like kind of experiment a little with the new remastered eyeshadows. And I feel like you'll be so surprised with like the pigmentation of all of it. So you guys can see with Lightform, a little goes such a long way, but it's like really hydrating and nourishing. It's like a burst of hydration for your skin. So if you're someone that like doesn't really like a full like glam foundation look, this one's amazing because it gives the coverage, or you can wear it really light. Yes.
Of course. Here you go.
Yes, my beauty blender is, so me and my assistants, like we always like get them really damp and then we wring them out very well. So like you want to make sure that it's like borderline wet and dry, like just slightly damp basically. That's my favorite way because I feel like if it's dry, it's like not doing anything. But if it's too wet, it's taking off too much product. But I like to go in with the brush and do all of my base work. And then I go in and do a little contour before I do concealer. So I'm going to be using these sticks that I'm obsessed with. And the shades that I'm using, this is like the Sudden Heat Sticks Spark and Ignite. So one's a little bit lighter and the other one's a little bit darker. Sometimes you need two, not always, but I'm going to go in with the darker one first. So when I contour the jawline, you want to make sure that you keep everything underneath, like not bringing anything down. And I also bring the contour right here to where like you start to fold, because that's going to create a beautiful shadow. Turn this way for me. But if you ever feel like, okay, you blended and you still see it, like we want the contour to be unclockable. So you need to go in with a brush like this. This brush hugs the shape of your face. So this is the Morphe 243 brush. This is a needed brush in my makeup kit. I've used this brush. I use it so much because I can even contour the nose with it and get right in here. Like I'll go like this. And you can give yourself like a very soft, subtle nose sculpting. So it really hugs is like my point. So I basically take it and drag it only in the area that I've placed like the bones. Turn this way.
Does it ever differ for different face shapes, this technique?
Not really. I mean, because I feel like as long as like you make it look unclockable, right? Like we don't want to see like your jawline, I think, is something that we all probably enjoy defining, you know? I haven't met someone yet that didn't want it. So I'll let you know when that happens. But what I like to do is like take the Morphe sponge, take your foundation, whatever's left over. You just want to make sure that you spread it out on the back of your hand evenly. Like don't pick it up in a glob. You want to do it like this. And then go back over this area. I will even do this after powder sometimes. Like if you need to fix something, just think about like using your sponge as like a fix-it kind of tool if you need to. It kind of pushes everything in. It just softens it all. It kind of marries it together. Turn this way for me. So with the sticks, it's so nice because I can kind of find that hollow in the cheek. If you're not sure where your contour is, what I like to do is look at yourself directly on and see where is the shadow naturally falling. You can see right here that it's falling right there. Like you can actually see that shadow. So that's where we want to put it. So I'm going to turn you this way. And you can start with like just this and see where that takes you. So when I'm using my favorite brush, I'm holding it kind of tilted upward because I don't want to blend it down. I want everything kind of like blended upwards. And I'll grab more as I go.
So I have another question.
Yes.
I have huge eyes, like big eyes, and I want them to be the main feature of my face. But sometimes I could get confused because I want a natural everyday look, but I will go into like I will use a mascara or I will just like do a cat eyeliner. But I want to know, as you were the makeup artist, what will suit big eyes and enhance them more, but not making them like for everyday look.
Ooh. Personally, it's fun that you have big eyes because I feel like you actually have more flexibility with like looks that you can do. So with bigger eyes, I usually like to accentuate like the outer corner of them. So when everything that I do, maybe I'll only do the wing from the outer corner, keeping it really flat to the lash line and then accentuating a little bit right here. Because sometimes I feel like if you have big eyes, like I kind of do too. So sometimes I don't want to put too much eyeshadow that's dark on my eyes because I feel like it's just too much because there's a lot of space between my brow and my lid. So in that case, I like to keep it really light with my eyeshadow shades, and I'll use the Flickering Sands palette, the one that I was like, you have to have this palette. So I'll use the more like lighter matte shades from that, mix it in with my bronzer, and then focusing on like an outer corner liner is really nice, or like putting a little bronze underneath the eyes. It just gives you more of like a baby doll effect with your eye makeup, and it doesn't make you feel overdone, but you feel put together.
Ash, we're getting loads of messages and questions on YouTube and Instagram.
I'm so happy. That makes me thank you for all the questions. I love when everybody engages. It's fun.
I'm going to ask you one of them, which is how many assistants do you have and how can someone become your assistant?
So I have 2 assistants. One of my amazing assistants, Sandra, is here today. She helped me prep everything. And I usually like to have 2 on my team. I'm looking for like a third right now, but I always look for people that truly are there to make my life easier. So that obviously know about makeup and have makeup experience. Maybe you've worked with someone else before. That's helpful to me because then I know that like you're coming with assisting experience. So I look for that. Sandra, what else do we look for?
Where's Sandra? Oh, she's over there. Hi. Tell us.
I think just like being honestly 5 steps ahead of Ash. Like
Yes.
she knows like, you know, what brush she's gonna use next. You have to have it ready. You gotta learn her routine.
Takes time,
Yeah, it takes time.
but I want you to learn quick.
Yeah. I'm self-motivated as well to just learn and be a better teacher.
Yes, self-motivating. That's such a good one because it's like even I have to self-motivate. We have to pat ourselves on the back, okay? Because we're busy. It's not just how it goes. It's like they just have me as their boss, okay? So like we're such a good team though. I feel like we like lift each other up. I look for people that have a mindset like me, like positive people, go-getters. You're showing up for me because like I'm making a lot of sacrifices, so you're making a lot of sacrifices because I not only live my life but all my clients' lives. So we're getting pulled in like so many directions. So like, are you okay with that?
Ash, I can imagine this would be something when your assistants come to work, it's not about sitting on TikTok and Instagram. You want them to be there, be the assistant as well. Because I do think with social media, it's really tempting to be filming everything and trying to do that on the side.
Yes, it's so hard. Look down in this way. So, right, like Sandra helped me with like all my TikToks. Like I need you to be like social media savvy. Like I do a lot like not everyone is like this as a makeup artist. Turn this way. I'm taking the lighter shade just a little bit and I'm going right underneath this area. You can always fix your contour by taking your foundation again. So I just have to show you. So the lighter shade, which is medium 14W, spread it on the back of your hand, grab it with your sponge, and just define more. This is gonna just make it pop even more. It gives the face a lift. Thank you, babe.
Wow.
So just a shade lighter or 2. You could do it with your concealer also. Just make sure it's not like stark. Sometimes the foundation like feels more hydrating as well. But yeah, I just look for people that are multifaceted because I find myself to be. So I'm like, I want to help people also, you know, grow in their careers. It's not only about me. I love pushing Sandra forward and getting her like out of her comfort zone and trying new things. So it's like we all work together as a team to do that for each other, for sure.
We have
need
a
to
question in the
conceal.
middle here. Sorry,
Yes,
Ash, we're gonna
please. Yeah, let's do it.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
so
you.
sorry, I know speak English well done.
No, I can
I
fully
hope I
hear you.
try, yes.
You're great.
I want to ask you about the brush. Yes.
Yes.
How is your recommendation about the cleaning the brush, or how many times is necessary change the brush and the spongy?
So I have found that when you're, you know, working on yourself personally, by the way, I'm obsessed with this concealer, like both of these formulas. This is the Wake Up Artist formula, and I'm using the color corrector in peach, and also I'm using golden 7W to conceal. So I'll conceal first while I chat with you guys. And I'm using an eyeshadow brush to do the blending. So this is 332. Sometimes I just like this for a little spot treatment, so I don't overdo it with too much product. And I would have to tell you that, sorry guys, I got so focused in this. Okay, so when it comes to brushes, if you're, you know, using your personal brushes and you feel like they're starting to like lose hairs, it's just because they weren't taken care of properly. And that makes me feel like I need to replace them. Okay. So if like you're starting to see the brushes shed like too much, just next time you purchase brushes again, the more you wash them, the better. So like for my clients, like my makeup kit, I wash everything immediately after because I don't want any product sitting on the brush that's bacteria. So you want to, you know, take care of everyone's skin, and that's super important to me. And I just feel like with our personal brushes, I know everyone can relate. You don't always do that. So you may need to replace them more often than you would makeup brushes in your kit if you're a makeup artist. So you kind of just have, I think your brushes will show you when it's time, basically. But yeah, invest in some good soaps. And if you just want to keep it easy, you could just use like dish soap watered down with like water. And sometimes it dries them out too much. So I'll condition them with like hair conditioner, like clean formulas. I'll literally use a hair conditioner, condition them every once in a while, just sometimes. And I'm actually going to go in with my favorite sponge. So making sure this is all pushed in. Another trick that I do, if someone is really oily, after I do this concealing, I go in with a very dense Morphe brush. And this is something I do on like Khloe Kardashian all the time. Like she has more oily skin, and I like to change things for everyone based off of, you know, what their skin type is like. So once I'm done with like all of these creams, I will go in and just push everything into the skin, because that's what's going to make the makeup feel less like makeup and more like your skin.
Ash, we have a great question from Nathan.
Yes.
Who says, I mean, as you just said, everyone's got different faces, different skin tones, different skin types. How much time do you give yourself for a full face of glam for one client?
So really quick, the brush I'm using is 105. So this is the one in my makeup kit that I swear by for like pushing everything in. So I literally go like this. And it kind of like dries it down, and you have to beat it in a little bit. Like this is what you would do if you're oily. If you're not oily, you don't need to do it because your skin's probably going to absorb the moisture. But this is like my favorite thing to do for the skin. Say it one more time for me.
Of course. So Nathan wanted to know, how much time do you give yourself to do a full face of glam for one client?
Thank you. So my clients usually give me 2 hours to do makeup, but that's not always the case. So sometimes we get an hour, sometimes we get, you know, it just depends. Like I've had to do it in 30 minutes, but I think like under the pressure, you just figure it out, and you just got to get thrown to the wolves sometimes and figure it out. And it's great because like you show yourself like you can be quick on your feet, you know, as much as we love to like take our time and chat and like, you know, have fun and glam with our clients. Sometimes it's just not the case. I'm also going to put the color corrector just right here.
Hi, I've got a question.
Yes.
So when you decided to quit your job and to go basically solo and freelance, at what point did you? Oh, hi.
Sorry, I was like, it's the light. Thank you so much.
At what point did you transition from relying on like emails and DMs for work to deciding that you want to go with an agency, if you did, and like having an agent help you with getting bookings?
Turn this way. So I had a friend answer this for me once, because like I, like you, had the same exact question, and I'll never forget it. He basically told me, he was like, you're going to know when it's time for you to get an agent, because you're going to be at the point in your career, you're with a client and the team emails you, they text you, they get your contact info, and you can't reply because you're already with a client right now. So how can you reply and get that job? Because if you don't reply right away, that job is gone, because there's so many people that can do that job. Okay. That's how it works a lot of the time, especially like if you're someone new and you're like stepping into like the space of the industry, you have to show up like the day of. Like some of these opportunities happen on the fly. Like one of my, you know, girls on my team got to do Kris Jenner, and well, they both have, and like she'll ask last minute, and I tell them, you have to drop everything and go do this, babe, because this is like gonna move the needle for you, and you need to go do it. I can't do it. You have to go do it. So you have to like, that's what I mean about sacrifice. Okay. Like you probably had plans, right? The plans are gone now. So just go do it for your career. And then you'll know, because look up all the way, you'll know when it's time, because it's like, you're going to be so busy being with your clients. So how can you book yourself? And you're going to be like backed up on your invoices too. Like trying to invoice everybody at the same time, that's really hard, keeping up with all your money. So that was like probably the best advice that I received about like, when is it time to get an agent? you are going to know, I promise.
Thank you.
Of course. And then until then, just be your own agent. Another friend of mine, I think it was like Patrick Starr. It was like before I lived in LA. We were both like moving to LA. And one thing he told me, I'll never forget. He was like, Ash, like, you know, I know you don't have an agent. You should probably act as if you're one. Okay? So like when people would email me, I would be like, I would have a name for myself. So I would act like I was like a manager. I'm not kidding. And as soon as I tell my team this too, I'm like, you guys, my assistants, you have to do that. Because the day you start doing that is the day people take you more seriously. It's the strangest thing. Like, it's the weirdest thing. People start taking you more seriously. And all of a sudden they stop asking you like the silly questions about like the bridal things that they want to talk about, you know? And you know what I'm talking about. You know the questions. And you just get to the chase. Like, how much is it? Like, when do you want to be ready by? That's all I want to know. Where do I go? You know? So I feel like it helps a lot because if you just keep acting like it's you, they think they can ask you like, you know, anything they want. But you shouldn't be so accessible to everybody, you know? Like, I think it's important for you to just like be a little more mysterious.
Sorry, Ash, this is mesmerizing. The under eyes look incredible.
Can you
Can you
okay,
tell us a little
you guys,
bit more about what's going on?
I have to tell. Okay. We're excited. I like it. So Wake Up Artist, new formula. Why is it important? Okay, this contains arnica, glycerin, and hyaluronic acid. So the arnica is really brightening. And I love when I find that in a formula because I don't see it all the time. I feel like that's a pretty innovative, you know, ingredient to put in your concealer because it brightens. Like, that's something you would use for bruising, right? So like, of course, that's going to be really rich underneath the eyes. And then it locks in all the moisture from like the glycerin and hyaluronic acid. So I do all the work with a brush and then I go in with a sponge. Now, you can't set this until there's no creases, okay? Like, if I were to just put powder on right now, we all know, I'm sure, that it's going to crease. So I always say my clients, every time I blend, my clients look down immediately. So I have to be like, can you look up again? Because I can't set your under eye until it's right. Before we do that, I'm actually going to go in with the cream blush. I usually like to keep the blush pretty creamy, but Cheek Thrills is incredible because you have 3 different options: cream, a glowy blush, and a powder. Your blush isn't moving, okay? That brings me to tell you it's not moving. So I want to blend this in as well because this kind of like brings that life into the look. So going back with this brush is the same one I used for foundation, and it's the 204 brush. I'm mixing these. Just give them a good mix. Put them on the back of my hand because we should control it and never put too much. So that's always my little trick. So I'm starting kind of like above the contour, a little bit above. I'm going to go back with the peach because I don't want the pink to be too bright when we get a little high. And my pressure is kind of medium. It's like not super hard. It's not super soft. Once I get to this area, it's very soft. Like, it's just like feather light. You're kind of like stippling and rolling. And that's what's going to give you like that really airbrushed effect right here. And I also like to put a little bit above the brows. I always feel like if you just take what's left over, or maybe you need to dip in a little bit more, apply this like in a vertical motion right above. I do this at the end again as well once it's powdered. You can take these creams and go over powder. That's how good they are. It's not going to mess up your makeup. You're not going to have any peeling or anything like that. Morphe creates products for you to be able to blend with everything else. And that's why it's different than any other line, because I feel like, again, like they have the artist in mind, and you don't have to worry about like your powder picking up if you apply this at the end. And because you can kind of like push it back into the skin. It's like very malleable, I would say. I'm even going to bring it into the eyeshadow a little bit, but the peach shade, because it's going to be more forgiving. So
Ash, I won't ask too many more questions because I've been told we've got about 15 minutes left.
We're so good. Yes, we're about to
if you
just
have
set.
applied too much blush, what is your technique for taking it down?
Oh, I would take that sponge again that I used.
Okay.
That has the foundation on it, like whatever's left over, like don't even get more. And that's all you need to do is just go over the area. So now that we're like in a good place, we're going to do all this setting because that's how things just like, you want to increase that longevity. And I feel like it makes the makeup have that wow factor. So I'm mixing the peach and the translucent loose powders.
I want to know which brushes did you use to blend for the under eyes because it's so seamless and beautiful.
I actually used the same eyeshadow brushes that I was using. So that's why you need multiple. So this is the 332. And then I also use the 333. So those two. There's also like a designated concealer brush. I use that as well. But sometimes I want like that very precise placement. So I'll use those. Now I'm using the Morphe Triangular Powder Puff. And I'm just going under the eyes first. I like to do this area and get it out of the way. And then I kind of go around the sides of the nose. If you're dry, I would probably just lightly powder with a brush. So you have to do what works for you. But if you have like that combo skin, you can definitely get away with this.
Hi, I've got another question, sorry. So regarding like your assistant, when it comes to like bridal bookings, there's assistants that like, for example, if you've got like a big group, they would help to cover, like, let's say the bridesmaids and you do the bride. But when it comes to like, for example, the assistant you have here today, alongside like taking your videos for social media, what else is required from an assistant like that?
She has to set up for me and pack up. So she has to set up everything before I get there. I always come like 15 minutes after. So I do the makeup right when she's ready. And so she always has to be early. And she writes down every single product that I use every single day because we document everything. It's everything I do. Every look that I've ever done is in like a glam Bible diary, if you will. So she has to write everything down. I know. Maybe one day.
Can I say, as you're doing this, Sandra is typing away there.
She's typing away. No, she's the best. I have the best team in the world. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm grabbing more powder with this incredible sponge. It's like a sponge and a puff all in one. Like you can flip it over too. And I'm just bringing it right underneath the contour. And this is just going to like accentuate. But this brush, favorite for powder. 163. Like, look at the shape. I've never seen a brush design like this. And I'm just going over all areas. And I'm actually going to take a little bit of this shimmer eyeshadow and use it down the bridge of the nose. I'm going to use this beige one. Just like a touch. Just like that. Tiny bit. And then I'm going to go back into the eyes really quick. So now that we're in a good place, we'll do some buffing out. Look up all the way for me. So chin down and then all the way up. So I'm bringing this into the waterline. Just a little bit. And underneath the lashes as well. And all the way to the tip of where the eyeliner ends. So really pushing it in between the lashes.
Aside from using a really good eyeliner, are there any tips for keeping it in place when you do it in the water?
Yeah, you need to use a formula like this that doesn't move. Like this literally doesn't budge. It's really forgiving when you're blending, and it has a nice time. Like there's like time for you to blend it out. Because sometimes the formula doesn't have time at all, but this one actually has a lot of time to it. Because look how nice that blends, and it literally doesn't move. And you can even put eyeshadow on top of it, but I feel like you don't always have to if you have a great formula like this.
Sorry if you said it, but which brush is that?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. 383. So it's like a great detail eyeshadow brush. And then look the other way for me. Perfect. Just like that. So I'm really getting in between every single lash. That's really important. You don't want to have like any little gaps at all.
What color did you say it's the eyeliner? I know one side is espresso.
Yes. So this is the Morphe Byliner. It's their dual-ended gel pencils. And there's so many in the collection too. I'm excited for you guys to check them out because there's like tons of shades. I'll look up again for me. I guess like depending on like your eye color too, and just like trying it out. Sometimes like for brown eyes, like it's fun to try a brown eyeliner first. I have some friends that like love using like plum, blue, green. I think it's like you've got to try it first because like I can tell you what I like, but I also want you to like feel confident in it, you know, because like you have to wear it. But I do love like having a brown eyeliner, like a brown and a black. We always should start there at the very least. Definitely. And then I also like to make sure I powder right underneath. So like really getting into this area. And then going back with the blush one more time. I'm also going to put this on the lips too. Sandra, will you pass me my lip liner? So going back with this. I'm so used to having her like right by me in glam. So pushing kind of like right into this area with more blush. And then again, bringing it back over the powder. And then what I love about this formula is that like this packaging and just all of it's incredible. You have this beautiful shade that you can use to kind of make everything glow. Yes.
Of course. Hi, I'm Kat. I'm going to do my own makeup for my wedding, so
Yay!
just paying attention. How do I stop my makeup from looking really patchy? And I've also got watery eyes. So yeah, I'm just kind of scared of my eyes running and my eyeliner running.
Go with long wearing everything. You need the continuous setting mist. Like this is definitely a must because like this is gonna lock in your makeup all day long. So we've got to have that. Thank you so much. So I'm actually going to use it right now. And you want to make sure that you do everything in thin layers. So when you put your foundation on, thin layer. Close your eyes for me. This is going to lock everything in. And I use this before makeup and after. And then you also want to make sure that like you do powder. So like really powder the T-zone well. I would be using like the Morphe concealers that I just used, Wake Up Artist, because everything I used here, it's like super long wearing. So like that's why like it's one of the reasons why I love Morphe products because it's like we've got the makeup artist in mind for that. So I would definitely start off with like a good concealer because you can spot treat and kind of use that everywhere. And then I would get like the Flickering Sands eyeshadow palette and like one of the solo artist bases because that's really going to be your best friend when it comes to like having the right tones for your wedding day. And you honestly would be set with something like that. Like, but it has to be thin layers, like with everything that you do, so it doesn't look muddy. Powder the lips. This way, your lip liner lasts longer. So loose powder over the lips with a fluffy brush. And when I apply, I always use one of these. And when you're doing the lips, I think it's really flattering to start off and just really accentuate the Cupid's bow and like the lower lip. So the shades that I'm using is Honeymoon and also Spiffy. I'm going to use Spiffy first, close for me. So she has a beautiful lip shape, but I'm still going to accentuate the Cupid's bow. So I'm creating a V just right above. Roll your lip down a little bit. That's super helpful. And this kind of creates a shorter distance between your lip and like the tip of the nose, so it lifts upward. And then relax. So now that I've created this line right here, I'm going to keep the sides really tight. I would say this works on almost everyone. Some people still, you know, would prefer maybe like no lifting here at all. So I always like ask first, but like most of my clients are like obsessed with this technique because it lifts up instead of out. So keeping the sides super tight. And then I'm going to pop the blush in the center because I feel like we need something like peachy pinky.
I know you mentioned powdering the lips. What about lip balm? Anything like that if you need
Yeah,
hydration
so
as well?
I actually did lip balm like first before you guys came in the room. So it was sitting on the lips the whole entire time. And then I wiped it off with a makeup wipe because I don't want the lip liner slipping around. You want to wipe it off because it was used as like a lip mask during the makeup process. So then was removed. Open for me more. It was removed so then that way we can powder the lips for longevity. So we have the moisture. Now we have the longevity from the powder. And the lip liner is just going to like seal it all in. Okay. Because like lip liner is like what's going to give you that longer wear. And now I can go in with the same blushes. They're so pretty. So just patting this back in. I love this shader brush. This is 303. I use it all over the eyes, like for the lid and like the brow bone. But sometimes when you take your cream blush and just use it in a multi-purpose way, it makes everything look more cohesive.
I think something you've really shown us is just because a brush says eye or lip, it doesn't mean you only use it there. You can really sort of find what works for you with each brush.
It's so true, but it is great that Morphe does have like a guide on here. So this says eye packer. So it's like we're getting you in the right direction with what's on the brush, but don't be afraid to use it for other things, for sure. And then for the lips, I'm going to go in with a really glassy effect. This is Pink Mirror in the Drip Glass. So these are brand new. I'm going to go directly on the lips. And then for eyebrows, I'm just going to lightly do her brows because she has such a great shape. So a lot of the times I'll start brushing the brows and I'll see where the gaps, where do we need to go from here. Notice I'm doing the brows last. I used to start with them first back in the day. And I feel like when I started doing them last, it made them less of a focus, but still frames the face in a beautiful way. So that way, you're not just staring at eyebrows, you're looking at the whole face. I feel like in 2016, it was like brows first, you know? But now it's like, let's have brows a little bit later. They're still really important. But now I can focus on where do we actually need the product. So the arch is usually where we go first a lot of the time, because we may have like plucked, you know, something we shouldn't have, or maybe it just, you know, just needs a little bit more product there for whatever reason. So find the gaps, keep brushing the product through. This makes it really easy. The Nano Brow Pencil, this is new, and well, it hasn't come out yet, so I wanted to share it with you guys today. It's the smallest, most micro brow pencil I've ever used, so you're really getting that microblading look. It just gives you hair-like strokes pretty quickly. And I'm not even going to do this area because I think it's perfect. But when I get to the inner part, I always do this on my clients. I do this last and I hold pretty steadily and I make little strokes of hair like this. And my clients are always obsessed with the way that this looks because it mimics the look of hair, but I literally draw it on and I have to sharpen the pencils that I use. I'll sharpen them. On the back of like a paper towel, but with the Nano brow pencils, you don't have to do that at all. They're just sharp. They're ready to go.
How lightly are you pressing?
Pretty light.
Yeah.
Like you can have more pressure here, but you need to have like feather light here. And it just takes practice. I mean, makeup really is, you know, something that you have to work on and it takes time, but like have fun with it, you know, and find the creativity in your makeup again. And sit down and try something new.
So when the client is ready and they're about to go on the red carpet or step out, what products do you tell them to take with them in their handbags?
Oh my God, this is such a good question. Okay, so especially if you're doing some like a wedding, this is so important, okay? Anytime I leave my client, I give them a little parting gift for good luck. And even though they might not even need it at all, it makes me feel better. I give them a little baggie. You can get them on Amazon. It's like a little sachet, I guess you could say, a little drawstring pouch. And inside there is, I always give my Morphe triangular puff to touch up with. I'll put a little tiny mini powder in like a little twist container. You can get those on the internet as well. And so put a little bit of like your loose powder in there, maybe a spoolie in case they have to change their outfit. And then like sometimes when you change your outfit, you mess up your brow in terms of like the hair gets pushed down, not the actual product. So you need to be able to brush that back up again. So I always give a spoolie and like a Q-tip, and that's it. Some people will do like a little bit of lash glue, so you can customize it to you. But that's my go-to little kit, and my clients love it. They just feel like, okay, at least I have something with me. And I do the lip. So I'll give a little lip liner. So when your lip liner turns into like a little tiny piece, don't throw it away. Use it for your touch-up kits. Sustainability, okay? Exactly. And then
Also,
you
probably
can
makes the client really feel like you care.
Yeah,
which is so important.
Absolutely. No, it does. I'm also going to lock these brows in. Look at this cute little gel. Another reason why I like how cute the Nano is and this brow gel, it's so small. So you're never brushing the product onto the skin. I can stay really detailed and focused right in this area. Because I know sometimes like when we're doing our brows, we like get it on the skin. But if you have tools that are more precise, you don't have to worry about that. So just lightly locking in the brows. And then lastly, we should curl. Do you mind if I curl for you, or do you want to curl? Yeah. Look down for me. Does it feel okay? Mm-hmm. Sometimes my clients curl on their own. It just depends. Like, I'm open to anything. I think whatever you're comfortable with. But this liner is amazing. It's like not moving. You see open? Okay, and then I'm using my Morphe mascara. So I always put my thumb here when I'm working in case hair is happening at the same time they're blinking. I can catch it, and we never have a mistake because sometimes there's not time for mistakes. So I can get my clients out the door. And I have, look down this way, a designated mascara in my kit for all of my clients because I like to use the wand, like the brush that comes with the formula, because I think they were made purposely to go together versus like using a spoolie.
Sorry, this trick of putting your nail there is genius.
Right, and it works well like if you are a makeup artist working on a client. If you're doing your own, you got this. Everyone's like a pro with their mascara. But this is a good trick. Some people put a brush here and they'll like flatten the eye, but I just like this better. I feel like I have more control.
Oh,
yes,
well, we've got 2 more minutes, so let's do these 2 questions.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, if you do get that mascara on that eyelid, what's the best way to correct it?
So I let it dry. I move on to like maybe powdering before they go. So chin down for me and then eyes all the way up. Perfect. And what I do is let it dry, and then I'll take a spoolie, like a clean wand, like that you would use for mascara, like a disposable one, and then just kind of rub it off. You could do a Q-tip, but I find that if you use a spoolie, it doesn't disrupt the eyeshadow. Like a Q-tip kind of like pushes the eyeshadow off. It's fluffy. Whereas like this just works as like kind of brushing it off, and like it doesn't harm the makeup.
It's gone so quickly. We've got one more question over there.
I was going to say, I'm a makeup artist as well. I actually work for MAC. Do you have any horror stories?
Haha.
Great ending.
I love you guys. I mean, I haven't really had any horror stories, thank God. But I've had some hard days for sure, where like we've all had a day where you're like, did they like it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like you question yourself, and usually it's not something you did, it's something they're going through. So never take anything personal. Never. The day you start taking something personal is like the day you're making it really tough for yourself to like do this career. You have to take everything with a grain of salt, vent about it, say what you feel, and then like move on. Tomorrow's a new day. And that's what I always tell myself. And that has gotten me really far in life. So I think we can all take that bit of advice and use that anywhere, no matter what career that you have, because everyone's life is challenging and tough in its own way. But I always take a little bit of powder right at the end and just make sure she's good before she walks out the door. But this is the finished look with like velvety smooth skin and a very sultry eye that kind of has like this gorgeous wet looking moment to it on the eyelid. So thank you guys for being here. It meant so much to me to be able to share my craft with you, share all of Morphe's newest innovations, and just to be able to share my career stories. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I just really appreciate it. So thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ash. That was incredible, so
Thank you.
insightful. I am going straight by the eye detail brush. That is what I've got
Right,
my eye on.
thank you.
But yes, please make sure you go to the counter. Loads of people there to answer all your questions. And remember, your ticket is redeemable against products. So head there. Ash, thank you for absolutely everything. And
Thank
guys,
you.
collect your goodie bag on the way out.
Yes, we should take some pics too
Yes.
before I go.